So our next guest speaker is coming from Iran, and I will invite architect Habibeh Madjdabadi. I hope I pronounced it acceptable. Habibeh is principal and owner of his own architecture office. And is one of the outstanding architects of younger generation in Iran, with almost 50 years of professional experience. Her work has been recognized and awarded and has widely been reviewed in the local and international media. Her artistic exploration goes beyond architecture, and she's making her mark in conceptual art and design. Her realizations reveal meticulous and continuous research about the new possibilities of using contemporary artistic approach and techniques in the local context. So she will speak about poetics of shadow and light, fluency in Iranian architectures. 40 knots house, one of your projects. Welcome.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello everybody. First of all, I want to thank the organizer, RIFF, and Romani for their architects. Thanks for the invitation. Today I'm going to talk about one of my projects, which is the Great Residential Building in middle class area of Tehran. This project that I did with the collaboration of Mr. Madjdabadi, it was nominated in the cycle of Award of Architecture. But before, I would like to give you an overview about Tehran as a context for my architecture. Here you can see a section of Tehran. Tehran, like many cities in Iran, is formed in the hillside. And you can see a height difference from the south to the north. It's a height difference of 800 meters from 1,100 in the south to 1,900 in the north. And as you move from the south into the north, the social class and layers of society and history of neighborhood and also the style of architecture varies from south to the north. My project stays in the middle of this section. Tehran has 9 million inhabitants and 800 square meters of the area. Quite a big city. And it has 30 million square meter of built area per year. So when you come to Tehran, at a first glance, you will see a large number of construction sites, and you may say, oh, that's a wonderland for architects. But unfortunately, a very restricted parts of those construction sites actually has architects as a designer. But many of them are built by the taste of owners or architecture students or low-profile architects. And a few of them actually by outer architects. In every street in Tehran, you may find 5 construction sites. But in Tehran, all the small condominiums, they're usually built by small private investors. And they don't afford to hire an architect as a designer. And they don't appreciate any intellectual contribution, but they just buy material for construction. And there are some obstacles, maybe communication of architect and client, and of course, the professional fee is another obstacle. Human beings are the only animals that cannot build shelter for himself, but they usually ignore this simple fact and they try to make building by themselves. And in many cases, clients hire, so-called commercial architects to design their houses in the Cinderella's castle style. If you look at the facades in Tehran, you may notice the three styles. First one is so-called classical style. You may find it in north of Tehran, in rich areas. And the second is a stylish modern facade, which is a composition of different materials, and you may find it everywhere. And the third one is outer facades. You may find more in north of Tehran and good areas. The classical style in Tehran is nothing to do with real classicism and with no respect of classical proportions, but just composition of some decorative elements of classical style. I give you a brief story of street facades in Tehran. Street facades are only common after 19th century in Iran and after creation of main street in Iranian cities. Before that, houses used to have so-called introverted architecture, and they had only elaborated facade facing the central courtyard, like the second picture. And the top one is one of the famous first facades in Tehran. Row housing is a building typology in Tehran. Plots are oriented north-south, and each plot has only one main facade facing the street. As you may notice, some of the plots facing the street and some others facing the courtyard. But there is only main facade, one main facade, and it's a two-dimensional surface. That's why many architects put their efforts only on designing the facade. As you can see, we have only a two-dimensional surface because inside it's a client territory, and the land is very expensive, and client doesn't want to dedicate his land for the facade, for creating a three-dimensional facade. And the street domain is for municipality, and they don't let you do the facade be projected in the street. So it's very, very difficult to design a creative facade. It's a big challenge. This is our project for Tenaz House in a middle class area. One of the oldest neighborhoods in Western Tehran. In Fortinaz House, beside all the limitations, we had one main condition, and that was the budget. We had very limited budget. This is one of my favorite pictures of the project because of this motorcycle, which is the vehicle of the client. And now, when I say we have limited budget, you know exactly what I mean. The project locates in the corner of an urban plot. We were lucky because it's on the corner, so we had two facades to design. And it's located in a land of 245 square meters. It's a 5-story residential with 10 small flats of 80 square meters. The overall concept of this project was providing good architecture for a middle class. You know, we have young, educated couples. They cannot afford to buy apartments in the north of Tehran. It's very expensive, but they deserve to live in decent apartments, and they appreciate good architecture. facade, I intentionally avoided to design different requirements of the facade, like windows, railings, to put different solutions together. But an overall concept, that satisfies all the requirements in one unique solution. Need for light, need for view, safety, and privacy, all in one solution. And the solution here is in modern interpretation of the ancient concept of Fakhromadin. The term Fakhromadin is Persian. I didn't find the English term for that. Fakhromadin in Persian and Mashrabiya, you may have heard about that, is the Arabic word. They are more or less the same, but there are some differences. Fakhromadin is a kind of mesh. This is two approaches of designing a facade. The first approach shows every solution separate, but our solution is a combination of all the needs of the facade. Fakhromadin has been used widely in Iranian historical architecture, and it's a kind of mesh. Can be made with brick or ceramic. And use of Fakhromadin is to assure privacy inside the house and to mitigate the sunlight and playing a good, beautiful play of light and shadow inside the house. And it's usually made by brick and ceramic. But Mashrabiya is a kind of terrace in Arabic cities, usually made with wood. And the concept is because privacy is a very important issue in Arabic culture and Iranian culture as well. They like to have a view to the street, but nobody can view the inside, have view inside. When somebody stands in the terrace, she can have view to the streets, and nobody can see the girl. And we have the same idea of Fakhromadin in Fortina's house. This is my son. I abused him as a model. Instead of talking about the static aspects of the project, I prefer to draw your attention to the story of the project and to the story of construction method. One day, the client of Fortina's house came to our office and asked us to design for him a very outstanding architectural project, a very outstanding residential building, but with a minimum budget. With minimum budget, a minimum design fee, minimum supervision fee, and minimum construction cost.
Very fast.
And very fast, of course. Yeah. In order to reduce the cost of construction, he himself had a solution. He used very simple laborers, unprofessional instead of professional contractors. So we had to deal with this unprofessional laborers. We as architects always have this claim and motto that architecture should serve all the layers of the society and all the different social classes. And in this project, we had a situation to prove this claim. So, we had to say, okay, yes, we are going to do that. We had to deal with these simple workers, so obviously we couldn't give them very complicated phase-2 drawings. So we had to translate the design in a very simple language, understandable for the workers. And we did it in the office by coding all the bricks of the facade. We designed it brick by brick and translate all the phase-2 drawings into text. I tell you how. We use brick because it's locally available and it's not that much expensive. We use perforated brick as a filling material and steel bars as connecting the structure of the bricks. And as you see in the left part is the instruction in Persian text. So they did all the facade with the text instruction instead of the conventional drawings. Here you can see that we used vertical bars as connecting structure. That vertical bars are welded to L-shaped profiles. The L-shaped profiles are connected to steel structure and the main structure of the facade. And each row of brick and each vertical bar, we dedicate a number, a code for each of them. For example, the instruction is like that. For example, row number 1, position bar number 1, there is the projected brick. Row number 1, position bar number 2 is hollow. Row number 1, position bar number 3 is filled. And like this, and it's very similar to the way that they do carpets in carpet factories. In traditional carpet factories, the carpet designer made the design on checkered papers. And there are two people working. One reads the instruction in a singing way, like 1 blue, 2 red, yellow below, and like this, blah, blah. And they used to sing it and in a rhythmic way. And the other one knits the carpet. And the one who reads the instruction does not necessarily know how to knit the carpet. Just like here, the guy who reads the instruction about codes and bricks does not know the whole concept of facade. They were very surprised when they finished it, because they did it part by brick, row by row, and they didn't know the whole concept. Here we made a comparison of these two methods. Actually, we inspired the method from carpet factories in Iran. And one craftsman read the knots, and the other just place it in the right position. Just place the bricks in the right position. Will you play? And the same quality you have in traditional carpets is human error that you can see also in this facade. It's just like a handmade carpet containing human errors. And so we gave them kind of freedom to the laborers. You know, brick as a material that we choose for the project. You know, Iran has we have a very long history of using brick in Iran, from the very first settlements from Ziggurat Chogazanbil is an ancient temple, dates back to 2200 before Jesus Christ. And so we have a long history about using brick, and in this project I consider brick a bridge from past to present and from traditional to contemporary. But this is not the only reason I've chosen brick for the project. My main reason is the climate of Tehran. In Tehran we always have sunshine. If you make a comparison sunny days in Tehran and other European cities, you may notice, we have few cloudy days in Tehran. You always have sun. So the choice of material is much different from European countries. When I work in central Iran, I usually avoid using shiny materials and polished stone or glass because the reflect is so bad. I usually try to choose a material which absorbs the sunlight and creates shadow on the facade. We add extra pattern to create shadow, to keep it cool during the day, to keep the facade cool. Here you can see the context, the neighborhood of the project. And you can hardly find an architecturally decent building in that area. This is a very old neighborhood of Western Tehran. And there are 5-story buildings, residential, all with the taste of built by the taste of owners. You know, in this part of Tehran, people are very much related and connected to their rituals. And when they come to the street, I believe, I finish in 5 minutes. People are very important when we design facade because they are part of urban facades. And when people come to the street, I believe architecture goes to the background. I'd like to show, maybe interesting for you, some rituals in Tehran. Would you please play the film? It has... buildings, we should consider people because buildings are built by people, are lived by people, and in this case, built by people. Thank you.